G'day and welcome. So I'm a little bit tired of doing the bikes at the moment. I'm still waiting on a whole lot of parts. It's just going on and on. And so I had a car itch again. So basically we get a BMC 1620 engine and strip it down and fiddle around with it and see where that gets us. So this video is about stripping it down and well, first I'll dig it out of the shed. I only thought of it when I sort of saw it in there, and then I went and got the camera. So there's a bit of poor acting where, oh, what have we got here? Where 5 minutes before it was very legitimate, I walked in and, oh, what have we got here? I tried to relive it and it didn't work very well, but look, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we get it out and we have a fiddle around, and I'll pose a question to you at the end. What do you think I should do? And we'll do the rest of it in another video. So this one's about disassembly. The next video on it will be about reassembly, so I hope you enjoy. I need to finish this computer off. That was the old one. Oh, it's the one I got some video RAM and that sort of thing. And Susie's at me. I've got to store these boxes, and I've got loads of chores to do, and I just haven't. I'm not motivated. Do you know what I mean? Lately, I've been just doing half a job. So I'm in the shed. I've got shed stuff everywhere. Some of this is Mum's, some of it's DVD cases. God, Bluebird dash, Starley seat. And I've got to get this cabinet out, and that's going back to Mum. She doesn't care and she needs it now. We were going to chuck it out. It's a good thing we didn't. So got that to do, rearrange the shed. There's my engine stand. Oh, what do we have here? A couple of rather tasty B Series. Off the back of the honeymoon from the MG, I wonder if it might be worth whipping one out and getting it going. Someone rebuilt a head. These were, okay, so the story with these, there's a Victor 18 too. I could do something with that. 18 parts. Those engines, they were from the chook shed, and we were allowed to go and collect a few bits and pieces when the chook shed closed. Some stuff didn't go to the new chook shed or wool shed facility. There's a generator there. I've got everything there. 2 generators. And 1560 fans are good. People use them on 2480s because it's a 2-piece fan, and they turn air much better than the 2480 fan, which is aerodynamically flawed. There's a 1500 and a 1620 there. That one had a rebuilt head. I wonder if it might be worth, while I'm doing this, to whip one of those out, or both. Trouble is, where the hell do I put them? Don't know. Sold to Pete Anderson. I think I paid $50 each or something for them. I don't know. What do you reckon? Is that the 1600? That's missing a balancer. That's got a balancer. Trouble is, I mean, I really want to play. I don't know. I feel the need. And this stuff, I would never, ever media blast apart from hydro blasting. This stuff will all come up like brand new. It depends on who the manufacturer was that had these engines installed. I think some of them had Austin green, sort of that colour. So that would have been Austin. Wolseley had a olive green, I think. MG had red. So, yeah. They're sort of painted different colours, but these all come up great. And it's just hard getting stuff like this. So I jumped on it, you know. I thought, I'm not going to waste these. Someday I'll use them. And I miss my little A60. I really didn't want to sell that, but I had nowhere to put it. But I can always find a spot for a an engine. There's a Starley bonnet over there. And a door, I think. That's cool. I didn't even know I had the door. I thought I got rid of those. Check this out. Oh, we are so going to have a play. I've got an issue. I don't know if I've got a Zenith carburetor for those. Rock cover. It's got a dent there. Could bodywork that a bit. Hope there's no oil in it. I'll just set up a ramp. This is a bad idea. Oh, someone's racing. Time for a break and a Kit Kat. But I don't have a Kit Kat. Right, so I've stuck this 1500 at the door. There are bits we need off it, so at least I can access it. There's a bunch of other bits in here too. There's another cylinder head under there. And there it is there, yeah. So I'm just going to plop all this stuff back in here. I've got to store this, Herbie. I've got to store more boxes of bits and pieces, so it's sort of more organised. Right, there's the box of bits I want. I found a manifold in Carby, but that's a sort of weird, I don't even know what that is. And that's had a custom flange welded on. So I found some overhead gear, I found a couple of dissies, oil filter, which is what I needed, some push rods, that's a heater hose I think, and there's another head. Anyway, this is done. Once the XC, once I've got that other guard finished, I'll take this in the garage. It's got like a kind of a big, it's been scraped there, and I don't know how to get that out. It's got a sort of a crease in it there. I might give that to someone just to get that out, and then I'll do the rest. Otherwise it's a really good guard. But I want to get those guards all on the XC. I want to get the XC finished. That's probably the priority, really. Right, so let's talk about heads. Hopefully this table doesn't crash to the ground because it's fatigued and it's plastic and they're pretty heavy. Right, there were 3 of them. I got 4 heads all told because the 1500 engine has one as well. There's Nissan inlet valves on this, and they're dished, whereas the original BMC ones are flat. That's odd, but it doesn't matter. Right, okay, so this is the deal, right? That's the head I think was on the 1600. There's no overhead gear on it, they're all loose. I haven't had a good look at this, I don't know what they're like, but I'm tipping they're probably alright. Normally you would just lap them in and, you know, that sort of thing. Clean them up, of course. One's missing, which again isn't a huge deal. Now when I got this one, I picked that up as well because I wanted to use the springs, retainers, all that sort of stuff. That one over there has been reconditioned. In some ways that's in better condition because the valves sit more proud than that. Oh, they're quite similar. The exhausts are quite similar. They're normally the ones that give trouble. So the long and short of it is this. I can make that head up. That's not a hard thing to do. As I said, in some ways I think it's in better condition than what that is. So it's food for thought. They're all got the same size chamber. They're all got the same size valves. So this is probably usable. I'm not going to. We've got a burnt exhaust valve. We've got odd inlet valves. We've got a Nissan one here and a flat BMC type one there. So that's strictly for robbing springs and retainers, collets, that sort of stuff. That's all complete. This one here. It's got a bit of debris on it, but you can see it's all quite lovely. And I mean, it probably makes more sense to use this. Although that's come off. Where did that come from? Came from here. That's not great. Hang on. There we go. All back home again. So yeah, look, we could use that. But we can also use that one. That is a Cleveland V8 dolly, which as soon as I got it I decided it was rubbish. You can see the amount of slack in it. I'm going to cut this up and use this as a stand for this. I think it's better. Rightio, let's have a look at our little B Series. It was in the beginning of being seized. I gave it a bit of a heave. I didn't have to use tools or anything. I just used my hand on the flywheel here, and it freed up. Right now, there's a lot of surface rust and gunk in there. But when I look at there's a bit of movement in the pistons, I guess. Ultimately, you would rebore it if you're going to use it. This engine, oh, could be a damaged piston though. These are the same pistons as Wolseley 2480 Mark 1. They're a low compression, about 7 to 1. I need to pull them out and have a look. I need a rag. There's an old rag. Here's an old rag. It's the sort of thing, if you're going to stick it in a car, you would definitely bore that. But even so, yeah, it's got a bit of a ridge there. And we'll see what happens. I think the first thing, I found the other studs. There was only one stud on this whole thing. is just to whip them apart and have a look. I think I put this here just as a means of holding parts in one place. These are great, these 1560 coil brackets. They sort of hold everything where you need it to be. They're going to come out? Come on. Oh, damn. I've got that on there. That's a sausage, isn't it? Right, here we go. Right, the engine number is 16Y, 16 being 1600. What's Y? Euro, I think. Euro spec, which is the same as we get down here. Slash U. What is U? Floor change. I think it's a floor change. And then it goes L and then the number. L is low compression. So we knew that. So this would be out of a... It could be out of a Wolseley 1560 now. In 1560s in England, they had the 1500, and 1660s had the 1600, but I think they all had the 1600s here. So it could be out of a 1560 or a 1660, which, judging where I got it from, that's what it would be from. Austin A60s were the same, so that wagon that we had a few years ago, they would have had the same engine. Morris Major Elite is another one. I'm pretty sure. So where are we up to now? We'll pop that off, and the Dizzy. The Dizzy's not even held in. Sweet. This one has a threaded type vacuum advance, which is what the Wolseleys had. They sort of came around and went to the carburetor. I have to take that guy out. There's a jack shaft in there too we've got to fish out. When you pull these apart, most of what you'll find are fine threads. So this will be 1/4 inch fine. 1/4 inch and 5/16 fine is very, very common on them. They do have the occasional coarse thread. Yeah, that's 1/4 inch fine. And these fasteners, I've got a box of new ones of those, I think. But failing that, it doesn't matter. I can just plate them all. Plating's very cheap to do. And BMC quite up. They're different coloured engines for different applications. This one's blue with a green timing case, so it's been messed with. Also, it's got an orange sump on it, which has a hole drilled in the side for something else. I don't know what that is. But traditionally, yellow fans or red, depending on what the application of the thing was. But these fans are good. They're really good. They work well. You can see they're two-bladed, so you could have summer and winter. No, summer and winter. So I can pop that off. That was obviously originally red. That has to be quite a mess inside. It's been mucked around with. There's water pump bolts missing. There's 2 of them missing there. So somebody's had a play before, and I don't know to what extent or what they found or what they did, but it's cobbled together with bits and pieces of other engines. So it could be pretty well munted, but we're going to have a look. Here's the watery pump. It does look clean in there though. It seems to be working. Probably need a rebuild though. Is that original bit? I don't know, that doesn't look bad at all. I would actually be tempted to have a go at using that thing. Let's take that off and have a look. There's no balance to this, so it's going to make life a bit easier. Oh, it's loose, and I didn't loosen that. So let's hope that it's not too bad. I might have to go and get a 7/16 socket. Hang on a minute. I'm giving my Imperial stuff a blast because I haven't used it in such a long time. I've been doing Japanese stuff, which of course is all metric. That's all 7/16, which is finger tight. I'll just keep drinking tea. Okay, let's keep going. Where's another one? I don't know why this is loose. So, obviously a project and someone's abandoned ship, mainly or maybe because it's knackered or because they ran out of steam. That's 1/2 inch. Yeah, what are we going up here? 7/16? Yep. And I think the other one is a 1/2 inch. There's another 1/2 inch there. Is that a 1/2 inch? Yeah, it feels like it. That's dented as well. Oh, great. Oh, this is good. Right, so somebody has fitted a later timing case. These had a felt seal around them, which is a pain in the ass. This is really, really good. That's excellent. They're hard to get. Wow, that's a good surprise. Take the sling off. Timing chain doesn't seem bad either. So for a first look, I mean, there's a bit of surface rust on it, but that doesn't matter at all. That is not bad. I'm not even going to change that, I don't think. It depends what that looks like. But that's not a bad thing. That's pretty cool. Right, so I'm just going to pick him up and put it on its end. This isn't the right way to do this. I've got an engine stand, but I'm not going to use it in the interim because I've got no room. Hopefully it's not full of oil. I don't think it is. I sort of had a bit of a look. It didn't appear to be. Anyway, let's take the pan off, I think. Have a bit of a look. That's a weird pickup. I haven't seen one like that. It's got that pickup, it's got that hole there. I don't even know what it's for. Someone's welded a bung in there of sorts. That looks different. That looks very different. Well, so far, I'm not too upset with this. Someone's had a go at that too. My brother's got my 34mm socket, which I'm sure would fit this. It's the same as the steering hub nut on a MG B and C. I'm using this the wrong way. This is an 18-inch shifter dad board when I was a kid for John's Austin Freeway to try and unseize it, and it's sort of nice to see it but getting used on some BMC kit again. Right, just a moment. When I gave up mechanicking, actually, I said to Dave and Mike, Raymakers, they're two of my friends, do you want my tools? I'm not going to use them again. And I said, no, you'll use them. Believe me, you'll use them. I said, no, I won't. Guess what? Guess what I haven't stopped using since I gave up the tools. Now, is that going to fly out? I think it's set by that nut there, I'm not sure. But we're going to figure it out in about 2 minutes when I get this off. I think that's set. Don't know. I've never taken one of these off, but I have now. Attention, these just are mechanical, I think. I don't think there's any oil galleries in them or anything like that. That's not bad, is it? That's not bad at all. Is it oil controlled? Yeah, it is. So oil pressure pushes that out. Wow, okay. Let's pull some stuff off. Might have to get a screwdriver, a couple of screwdrivers. Hang on a minute, I don't want to lose the order of this. I might have to bag this one. There'll be some BMC mechanics looking at this saying, what are you doing, you stupid individual? Okay, that felt good. That feels really good. So if you are a BMC mechanic, I got there. Sweet. Sort of. There we go. Lovely. I reckon this is alright too. I'm going to reuse this. Why not? Right, so just the front plate. I'll leave the camshaft in for now. I've got to take that jack shaft out. Then the front plate can come off. I might plop some pistons out. What do you think? Sort of like that. Is that one ready to go? Yep. Oh dear. So far in pulling this apart, it's actually really good. I mean, I don't want to speak too soon, but normally something which someone else has mucked around with is just a host of problems and just headaches, you know what I mean? Which I was never going to undertake with this. If it was a host of headaches, I would have just banged it back together, chucked it in the shed, and you would have known I was doing it. So, come on, off you get. These bearings, you would never reuse. I mean, they're worn. Coming. But what happens is you get adhesive wear. So bits and pieces of the bearing material will adhere to the crank, and then you end up with a real mess on your hands. They chew the crank out. It's happened to 2 BMC motors I've done. So there we are, the engine's sitting on the deck, and the cranky looks pretty good, really good actually. It's got a couple of marks, but it's not bad at all. Could be a lot worse. Haven't looked at the mains yet. This is a 3 bearing, obviously, 1, 2, 3 mains. It's the MG, my MG should have a 3 bearing engine, but it's got a 5. Someone's put it in later. But aside from that, this thing wouldn't have been run for a long time. It's 60 years old, so you don't just stick fuel in them and off you go. There's always going to be something wrong, and with this there's no exception. I'm just going to pop the flywheel off. That should be the last one. And I'm expecting oil, which I don't know much about at the moment. A little bit, at the back of the can, that's all. There we go. Oh, it stinks. It smells of off Permatex. Rightio. Just use my engineer's hammer with a brass drift, just to loosen that a bit. I think it's coming. Rightio, I've got some pistons. Good news and bad news. We know what these things are like. I've had many BMC engined cars, and broken rings is not, they're not a stranger to that. Just swap the glances over. If you look at this too, they're also shocking for breaking lands as well. There's a lot of wear on those rings. They've got a sort of a ledge on them there. And the reason for that is because they're shattering up and down in the groove. That one doesn't look too bad. You would probably get away with that with new rings, but yeah, I don't know. The problem with these, I haven't yet cleaned off to see if they've been oversized. But one of them has a crack in it. And as I said, it's common for these. I've seen many failed pistons in these engines. There it is there. And it goes from the bottom land, O-ring land, up to there, where I think the lubrication is supplied. So that's not a great thing. Great thing. This is also quite stiff on the wrist pin, on the gudgeon pin. That's also a clamping bolt, and that is a weakness with these engines in a performance application. The bearings on the crank are 20 and 20 under, and they've worn very evenly, but as I said, with adhesive wear, you would never ever even think of using these again. This has been reconditioned. They're not BMC bearings. I don't know who made them. R7H. And only one 020. So that's 20 thousandths on those, and also on the mains. Where did I see that? There is where I saw them. Don't know if you can see it. Hang on a minute. Can you focus? Yeah, they're really evenly wearing, which is great. So I think, having said that, it's going to be such that we can do one or two things. We'll need new rings, but I do have a bunch of second-hand pistons. And if we're just going to get it going, we can just stick a second-hand piston in, measure it up, check the ring end gap and all that sort of stuff. But it kind of seems a bit futile. While we got that out, I wouldn't mind either Mark II 2480 pistons, which are shallower. This is low compression. This is around 7 to 1. The 7.2 to 1, I think. The Mark II 2480 was the same, and then the high compression one was 8.4 to 1 or something. 9 to 1 is what I'd like to see. 9 to 1 is good. But anyway, I'll clear this off and I'll bring the crank up and have a look at that. Crankshaft looks fairly good. I hope I didn't do that. There's a little nick there. But you know, it's clean. I wouldn't regrind that. Given that it's at 20 anyway. I would probably just give it to somebody to get them to polish it. It doesn't look bad at all. Certainly doable. I've seen a lot worse. I might give that to them and just say, look, just polish that out. It doesn't use a remade seal, it uses a slinger arrangement here. It's funny because on the Austin Freeway 2480, on 2.4 litre 6, which is just this engine with 2 cylinders added. In the manual they said it was acceptable to have a drip out of the bell housing. There's a split pin there, and they drip off the split pin, and that's acceptable. These days you try and tell a road with the guy that. But that's alright, I reckon that's fine. Right, that's me being a total butcher, a real butcher. This engine should be bored, right? That's just all there is to it. The thing is though, I don't want to, because of cost and the fact that it's a play engine type thing. It will go into a car eventually. But really I can feel a little bit of a ridge, and you can see it, but all things considered, it's not terrible. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it'll be alright. It's not a high performance engine at all. It's quite a modest little thing, really. So I think, hang on, I've just seen something. I just want to clean it up a bit and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Anyway, this engine's never been decked. You can see R, S and S. They're factory oversizes for the pistons. It's all right, you know what I mean? Like, it's a low performance engine, so these make 61 horsepower. And I don't know if it's been bored. I've just got to clean off one of the pistons and have a look. I can feel a bit of a ridge. But given that it's not going into a high dollar car like an MGA or something like that, it was an MGA one to go straight to the machine shop. And I'd also have it skimmed across the top. Because I do think it's a little bit low in that area there. So I probably should go anyway. It's been rebuilt before, it's had Welsh plugs, it's got brass Welsh plugs in it. Hope you can see up the back there. See? But, you know, it's all stripped. I'm going to take it and clean it all. Clean all through the galleries, clean out all inside, and, you know, have a look and see what parts we need. Okay, so there are a few things to consider. Crank looks good. It's 20 and 20, so 20 under on the journals for the big ends and the mains. The pistons, another ring broke off one of them. We've got 3 of the earlier type and 1 of the later type. Yeah, so I've got odd pistons. The car's on its original bore. These pistons will give you 7.2 to 1. It's the same compression height and bore as an MGA 1600 Mark II. So we can get MGA pistons for it. These ones, or particularly those older ones, which are the same as the 2480, are known for breaking. They're known for it. We've got a cracked one. They're known for breaking the lands. I've seen them a hell of a mess before, so it's not unusual. So at the end of the day, we got this thing out to run it, and we can stick a second-hand piston or a couple of second-hand pistons in. That's easy, and we can get it running, and it'll run fine. But do we bother, do you know what I mean, without doing it properly? The other thing is the lifters, number 5, is absolutely shagged. The case hardening's gone, and we're starting to go through the surface of it. And so the camshaft got wear too. So if we take the block in to a machine shop, because I'm not happy with the bores, I mean, you could get away with it theoretically, but anything with a ridge there and new rings and new pistons, there's going to be a certain amount of wear in these lands, which are allowing the ring to travel up and down. So that ridge could well interfere with a new piston with new rings, if you know what I mean. The only problem with it, and I wouldn't hesitate in doing it, putting an MG cam in. MGA and MGB cams are the same, you can still get them new set of lifters, a set of flat top MGA pistons, get it decked, get it bored, right? That's going to cost a bit of money. and I haven't got a car to put it in. I'll get one, but at the moment I haven't got a car to put it in. So it's interesting to think we can use some second-hand parts and just get the thing to tick over. But then it's going to be all nice and new looking, and it's going to be full of crappy parts. So you tell me, what do you want to see? At any rate, thanks very much for watching. Enjoy Classic, and I'll see you soon. Bringing this head back together. I'm not cleaning anything up. I'm not. I was originally going to clean the springs up, get some O-rings for the valve stem seals, but the guides are absolutely gone. Don't think there's even this side. There's a whole lot of movement. This isn't even as bad as the first two. You should also be able to hear a pop. What's this one like? Hang on. There's a little pop there, but it's not significant. So I think we'll just bang this together so it's in one piece. This is a good basis for a head. But they're all 1500 heads. They're not high spec ones. There's not really, you know, anything special about them. If they're an O head or an A head or something like that, it'd be a different story. So I've started trying to pick exhaust valves, and I think I've got the best but bad lot. We certainly wouldn't use that. It's all sort of burnt out. This is the best of the others, and I've given it a rudimentary clean, but all around the ceiling area or the seating area is absolutely knackered. I think that's the reason the other head, the Rico one, the valves are sitting back, because I think they've just recut them. Because a new set of valves is very expensive, headwork is very expensive, and you know, these aren't massive value cars, but it's important getting them back on the road. So I think whoever did the head on the other one did it to a price, because the cars aren't going to be thrashed. They're really quite driven quite quietly. I can sit in there, and it's just a means to an end. This, it's just a matter of banging it back together, and at least it's all in one piece. And I haven't got loose valves because I don't want that, except those ones sitting over there. That doesn't matter though. They can go into a bag or whatever. I don't think any of them are any good anyway. So I'll just slip those little collets back in. But if it was a high performance engine, yeah, you'd have to be a lot more careful with it. But these things, the 1600 turns 61 horsepower, and I think the 1500 something like 48 horsepower. They're very, very docile. So you can sort of get away with a bit more in terms of, you know, tolerance, if that makes any sense. I'll just put that on. That'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't actually need it. Maybe that was on that side, I can't remember. But that gives you some idea of the quality of the kit we've got, and that's fine. He does a great job, the guy in the club that doesn't. He used to. I don't know if it's still the same guy. But you know what? I think that's all right. I think we'll just, what we'll do with that is we'll just clean him up a bit, and we'll maybe put it in a bag, spray it with some, we'll just get some oil and smear it around. Gotta get that out. Hang on a minute. And that's something that can be kept. Check this out. This is the old one. Not a skerrick movement in the guides. Perfect. The other one's rattling all over the joints. This is probably the better of the two. There's a bit in there. It's really, really good. I was going to chuck this out, but you know what? It's probably a better head. Reserves and all that sort of stuff. It's just messed up. There's a wasp nest in there, and it's just a bit of a mess to look at, but it's probably better overall. It's got a bit of rocket gear. That one's dirty, but it's all doing what it's supposed to do. This one's all seized up, but that's a no-brainer, so I'll keep that one. Put the others away. The oil filter should have, it's like a motorcycle one, it should have a spring in it. Yes, it does. Awesome. So that I would just give to furniture regarding hydroblasting. I get all that hydroblasted. So that would go in there. I did the same with the bikes and then I started getting confused. Then I think the spring, then I think that washer, then that holds the filter on that side, that holds it on the other side, and that's complete, so that's cool, that's good. That actually has all its points and everything there already. I think it's just missing a nut from the top of that, which is dead easy, for the little pigtail wire. What's this one got? Just got the one that's on that engine too, that advance is loose. They're both loose. I'd be inclined to make a hybrid dizzy. Use that advance unit provided it works. I'm not going to put my mouth on that now and make one into this or whatever is on the engine. I think the 1500's got an engine too. I've got it in here as well. I've got these. How many do I need? 16 of those, have we? Oh no, 8 of them. There's more than 8 here. Are they all the same? We're just checking for straightness by rolling them against a thing I don't want. They'll appear to be the same length, don't they? I've got the 1560 box. Oh, that's, well, it's a heater hose. They always used to use copper on the heater hoses and you polish it up and it looks beautiful. That's a 2480 fan. These things are, according to one of the engineers, oh, go away. What are you doing? Go on, Nicole. Aerodynamically flawed because they tend to throw air out sideways instead of back. I had a 24, I've had a couple of 2480s, and on the last one I fitted 1560 fans. They've got a more defined pitch and 4 blades. Seem to work a lot better. Dipstick. Oh, that's not bad. That's doable. I'll use that. They're $70 for new ones. Might as well, eh? I had a, oh, hang on, are these studs? Oh, yes. Hang on, I need a set of studs for this thing. Head studs. Oh, look what I've just found. This could change my luck. That is a good day. I'll show you why, because that 1600 hasn't got those. I've already broken one of these. I don't want to break another one. There's more. So there's a dipstick tube. They actually screw into the block. It's a nice one, that one. Dizzy cap. Is that a 4-cylinder one? Yeah. That's probably off the MG. No, it isn't. It's there though. Look at it. Put some nice classic leads on that. 2480 A60. I don't think there's much in here. We'll just have a look. Just on the off chance we find anything we want. There's some lead. Green solid lead. I don't think there's enough for a whole engine. Don't think so. How many cylinders? 4. Might be able to do something with that. I prefer the stuff that's got the print on it. You know, it looks really old school. Stick that in the box. Might be able to use it. Oh. Oh, hello. A temperature gauge and an oil pressure gauge. They're very important. We can certainly use that. Wow. I wonder if it works. We can test that. Found these. This is great because I thought I'd have to buy them. These are the rubbers for the rocker covers. Also these as well for the valve covers, rock covers, whatever you want to call them. And I'll just polish them up and get them zinc plated. And they're not chrome, but it doesn't matter. This one's off that Wolseley, I think. But that'll come up on a Y wheel beautifully. What do you reckon? Shit. Jesus.